Okay, background information here. You might be asking yourself, Mr. Roper, I thought we were talking about the Renaissance today. Well, yeah, we are, but we need to talk about the classical age because the classical age and the ideas that came out of it are heavily, heavily important to the Renaissance. So, this is a time period, you can see the dates up there. Very cool time period. The discovery of iron had been discovered between 800 and 200 BC. So different civilizations are using it. And with iron, you can make weapons. And with weapons, people get hurt and things aren't good. People get scared. They look out for answers like this is really a cruel world, man versus man. What do I do? So into this world, we take a look at Greece. In ancient Greece, in Athens specifically, democracy is born. So a lot of ideas are starting to come out of this area and out of this era. It's called the classical era. It's a time of great thinking, art, as you can see on the far right, and pride and community. So a lot of this stuff is emerging probably in reaction to the difficulty of living back then. So what I want you to do, if you're living in this tough time period and you're a thinker or you're a person thinking about life, why would you make sculpture like that on the right? Take a close look at this man getting ready to throw what's called a discus. Think about it. What do you notice about the sculpture? Think about the facial expression. Why would the artist create it like this? All right, but before too long, this area of democracy, Athens and Sparta, they're going to have this big war, and they engage in war for almost 30 years. After it, they're both devastated, and many thinkers start to lose confidence in democracy and say, well, we had this idea that we'd be ruled with good rulers and good freedom, but many thinkers started to question, was this the answer? Well, philosophers start to emerge. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. They try to figure out what the good life is. And they start asking questions like, what's the best sort of government we can provide for people? Well, a lot of this tradition gets passed on. So once the Greeks in their classical age start to fade, it passes along to the north in a place called Macedonia. And it's going to give birth to leaders like Alexander the Great. Well, Alexander the Great, as you know or don't know, he's going to create an empire, and it's going to stretch all the way from Greece to India. Along the way, besides conquering places and naming places, many places, Alexandria, especially in Egypt, Alexander is really going to stress the idea of Hellenism, which is a lot like like the classical era, in which he is really going to stress the ideas of the Greeks, but he's going to fuse it with other places. So Alexandria and Egypt, in places like Persia, current day Iran. So he's going to really spread these ideas where he goes. He's going to create great libraries and places of learning. And it's going to really birth lots of thinking in science and math and geometry, things like that. It will eventually be picked up by the Romans. The rise of Rome, Julius Caesar and his empire, they will continue on with these classical ideas. And for many years, they'll enjoy them. However, these ideas will start to fade away once Rome falls in 476 when it's invaded by barbarians. And some dates to consider.